Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to take you through 4 key steps that you can take if somebody will not commit. And these are going to be healthy steps. These are going to be things not about manipulating somebody into being with you or anything like that. And I'm definitely not saying anybody on this channel is like from that frame of mind, but just sometimes if you look out there, there's different pieces of advice that can be like, play this game, do this thing, and all of those things. Anytime we're playing games, honestly, it's a form of self-abandonment. It's us like trying to contort ourselves into something we're not and change ourselves and release our own values or morals to try to get somebody to be with us. And that isn't going to be a fulfilling way to live, especially from the perspective that if that's how you're showing up and operating, it's like you have to maintain this like mask at all times. You can't show yourself and your vulnerabilities and your flaws and your messy moments and your humanness. And so that will be really hard. So I'm going to take you through 4 really healthy steps that you can take if somebody is not committing. Step number 1 is to pause and identify your needs truthfully and authentically. And what I want you to practice almost like as an exercise for this is try to imagine that you could white out that person for a second. Like you could just erase them for a moment, like just from your understanding of like where you're at. So, because sometimes it can be difficult for people who relate to others in like an enmeshed way or too much of a people pleasing way. You'll think that your needs are like things that give you that person's approval, but you're not actually like separating that out and being able to actually just consider what your needs are only. And that can make things sort of a little messier and more confusing. So a really great tool or skill to use is to like pause and try to actually identify like, what are my needs in this situation? Just my needs. And your needs may be like, hey, obviously, if you're watching this video, your needs are probably like, I would like a romantic relationship with this person. I would like a commitment from this person, and try to get clear. Like, what would that look like? And when would that be? And, in the meantime, what are you okay with? They're not okay with in terms of commitment of time and how often you speak and frequency, and like try to get super clear on what you actually need as a person first. And then step 2 is to communicate them. And you communicate them without an expectation of when they're going to exist, but an intention. So what this really means is you might say to somebody, and let's say you've been dating somebody for like 4 months or something like that, and you're ready to like have a commitment from that relationship. And let's say you're getting to know them. You may say, look, I know where I'm at as a person. I definitely want like a committed partnership at this point. It doesn't have to be like between you and I right now or tomorrow, but I also really value my own time, and I don't want to invest my time in somebody who doesn't at some point in the fairly near future want those same things. And so I need to know just from you that you're open to that. So I know I'm like investing my time in terms of something that will also meet my needs. So you're not putting pressure like, I need to know if you're going to commit to me right now. We need to have the, exclusivity conversation immediately. Like there's none of that, but it's saying, I value my time. I'm clear about what I want. And are you going to fit into my life? Not am I going to keep people pleasing to fit into yours? And ultimately, it's a compromise between those two things, and so really, really important. Then what you have to do, step 3, is set a rough internal deadline. If this person says to you, yeah, I'm definitely open to that in the near future, but they're vague, then set an internal deadline for yourself. Like, okay, I'll be patient for another like 3 months or so, 2 months or so. And if I still don't see this person like really taking the next steps to make a commitment, then, that's, sort of a funny situation or a place to be operating from. And if you're coming from that place, where you find yourself like waiting and being strung along and allowing it, there's usually like fears that you have of abandonment or loss, or fear of being a burden, or fear of not being enough, or not finding somebody next. And so what the steps would be for 3 and 4 would be to set a rough internal deadline where you're like, okay, I'm gonna wait for X amount of time. And if I see the needle moving and I see things really progressing, then like, great, I can extend that or change that deadline a little bit. It doesn't have to be like to the day, to the hour. But, like, let's say, for example, you say, okay, I'll wait 2 more months, and it's 6 months. If I don't see somebody like investing and wanting a monogamous relationship, then, or a relationship with me, then I'm going to choose to move on. But if 6 months comes and goes and the person says, listen, I'm like really close to being ready, I just need like a little more time, but I'm really working on fears I have of commitment, working to overcome them. And if you see their behavior and they're showing up so well in the relationship, like it would be okay to like move the needle a little bit and wait a little bit, because you see so many things where that person is showing up. But ultimately, actions and words do have to line up, and I can't go on for that much longer. And then number 4, if you don't see that happening, if the person didn't either already commit or doesn't have all those healthy behaviors in action, then you want to work on your core fears and abandonments around fear of loss, or those stories that we talked about, not being good enough, there not being someone else out there. A lot of these narratives that I hear people tell when they stay in relationships and don't allow themselves to progress and like move on, or they stay in like situationships where somebody's not making the next move and allowing that to progress. So if you find yourself struggling with that, a really great course that I highly recommend checking out at PDS is the Emotional Mastery and Belief Reprogramming course. It really goes through like your fears, your belief patterns, the core wounds that you may have. And it gives you a whole bunch of different reprogramming techniques and tools to help like leave those things behind, so that you're not entering into your relationships from a place of like fear, or you're not afraid to leave relationships because you think you can't find something better, or that there won't be someone else out there, and we ultimately want to be in a position within ourselves where we feel like we are in alignment with ourselves, we're being fair to ourselves and our needs and our boundaries, and we're willing to like embody our truth, not just like have a truth or, consciously know that we deserve better, but actually like embody it at a subconscious level. And that's what we actually have to do, the reprogramming, to get into that space as individuals. If we're not there, it means shedding our core wounds, having really healthy habits to learn to meet our own needs, to show up in the relationship to ourselves, to learn our boundaries and assert ourselves and do the work so that we develop a subconscious comfort zone of self-esteem, so that we know our worth truly from the inside out. And it doesn't mean that you have to like become arrogant and think that you're the best in the world, but it just means that you want to be able to feel like, okay, I can tell that this is not healthy for me any longer. And I'm okay with parting ways with things that are not healthy. I'm okay with setting a boundary. I know it'll be hard. I know it'll be painful, but I know that that's the right thing for me, and I'm willing to take action to do that work. So, if we're struggling with that, it's because we're blocked subconsciously and we just have fears and old wounds that we can work through and we can create change around. So anyways, you can check out the Emotional Mastery course for 7 days for free if you'd like, and you want to do a deeper dive into some of that stuff. If you want to have the commitment conversation, I highly recommend the Communication Scripts course. You can check that out for free as well. We've got 50 plus scripts you can print off, you can use as little mechanisms and methods for communication. So anyways, I hope that all makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And the courses that I was talking about, by the way, you can click for them in the description box below if I didn't already say that. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.